they should also learn that, right? Singapore is not part of China. That's something that I come across a lot, you know.
When you roll the stones, the demons come to haunt you. Diabolic dice coming straight from the master. Coming straight from the master. The maker, the taker, the hardcore gangster.
Hey Zouk family, we're catching up with more regional heroes, and this is super exciting because we get to chat to the team from Zouk Singapore who have made it into the institution that it is today. Nearly 3 decades this has been a club heavyweight, and I love chatting to the team over the Straits. LeNerd is not just a resident DJ, someone that you have seen on many mixes on Zouk Digital, but he's an integral part of the in-house team that has done DJ contests, famous DJ contests, built very strong nights in Zouk Singapore, but also is a pioneer of turntablism and produces his own music. So much to discuss with you, LeNerd. How have you been?
I'm so far so good, man. Holding up very well in the pandemic.
Hey, that's good. That's all you can ask for. You have your health. So where do I start? Can you give us a bit of a background? I know you've been a DJ for a decade. You've been in-house with Zouk Singapore for half a decade. How did you end up starting, and how did you get into Zouk?
So it all first started like around 12 years ago when I was in Singapore Polytechnic, which is like I think something like high school, after high school, before university. So I had this co-curricular activity. You know, other people play basketball. I joined DJ club. So from there on, I just started knowing more people and eventually got into like the pro scene and eventually joined Zouk Singapore for 4 years.
I mean, Zouk Singapore is an institution in Singapore. You and I both know it well. People who are viewing from Ron's country of America and Hong Kong will also have heard of it. And once you came inside, you didn't just do resident DJing, but you've also built nights and you've built DJ competitions. How did that come about?
So it basically all stems from passion. Like, I guess if you have passion for something, you'll keep non-stop trying to find ways to improve it and make the end consumers happy and give them what they want, at the same time educate at the same time. So it just naturally sprung forth all these competitions, all these nights that I created. So it all first started at Future. No, probably it all first started at Jakim before we moved to Clarke Quay. So I was like a new resident and I wasn't given any nights, but I was given the opportunity to support like big, like legendary nights like TGIW, Bulletproof, and Drop It, which was at Future. And then sometimes I'll be supporting Solid Gold, which is hip hop night at Future. So given my background as an open format DJ, I can kind of see like the perspective of music lovers across all genres, like what they like within their ecosystem, and also like what they could also find out from other ecosystems. So which leads me to create DJ competitions and my night called Crowd Control, and eventually this Telegram group called Singapore Bass Music.
That's very cool. Tell us a bit more about Crowd Control. It's a night that we've looked at from Malaysia. It's hugely popular in Singapore. I know that it's a big hit. So tell us a bit more about Crowd Control.
So Crowd Control is basically a forward-thinking night. It is basically a forward-thinking night, but it's extremely hard to promote if you tell people to write about the night as a forward-thinking night. Like, what genre is it? How does it sound like? So for now, right, we would like to classify it as like bass music, like loosely. So how we push the night forward, right, is basically music that we feel that people would like to hear 1 or 2 years from now. Yeah, it's not just like all the bangers from your day-to-day stuff. So it is quite difficult to push this night, but we also have a fan base, a growing fan base, in fact. Because I guess more and more people are getting on Spotify, more and more people are tuning into like remixes rather than the original song. So I would say like how informed the audience is, they are getting more and more informed, and it's better for our night. So it is always a risk for club owners to take, right, if we were to play something more experimental. But it's a job of resident DJ and in-house DJ to keep the balance between I would say relatability and showing what we know.
It's really interesting you said that, because one of the mantras of Zouk is one music, and it's always been built on a passion of music from Lincoln's, from going to Ibiza 30 years ago. And one of the great things about crowd control is it's an educational night. I always think it's great when you go to a club and you hear music and you don't know what it is and you Shazam and then you go back and you put that into your playlist. And I think if you're doing that, that's fantastic for people to hear new music, because it can be disappointing if you go out 4 nights in a row and you hear the same tracks 4 nights in a row.
Yeah, precisely. A very good example, right, is like when EDM was popular, that's like 128 beats per minute kind of music, and eventually it became hardstyle. But during that transition, right, crowd control is handling all the 150 BPM music. And eventually when 150 BPM music or regular hardstyle starts to become more mainstream, we eventually dropped it. You know, we had a very good opportunity to have Headhunters and Kun in crowd control, but I decided against it because I felt that the crowd control has to stay on brand. If not, there will be no point. You know, our day one fans will like look at us and think about like, why are we, you know, not living up to whatever we say? We don't walk the talk. So end up we didn't take Kun and Headhunters, which has now become commercial in the Singapore scene, and we took on Angle Fist instead, you know, which is all the 170 beats per minute, hardcore, a bit raw style, kind of like still forward thinking. So at the end of the day, we still managed to keep the forward thinkingness of it, and the most important thing is we still managed to pack the venue. So like it's like super lucky, yeah. But we continue to do something like that for many nights to come.
Hey, that's awesome to know, and it's also great for the Singapore Republic, because the clubbing community is a big one, but they don't have many options. And to go and see acts that they may fall in love with that they never heard before is something that Zouk can offer that not many people have dedicated the investment to do so. Let me also ask you, something I've spied from your live streams is you don't just rely on CDJ, you don't just rely on laptop, but you also mastered vinyl, which is something that for dinosaurs like me, we used to do 20 years ago. But that's amazing to watch. It's also very special. How did you get into turntablism?
Okay, so I would first like to say like I am in the unique position where I am not a new generation DJ, and I'm also not an OG. So I'm like in the transitional period, and I started off learning hip hop DJing. So we only had turntables back then, but we had Serato, so we don't really actually have to use real vinyl. I have some opportunities to use real vinyls during battles and all, but like it's like very minimal. So we are still digital, but we are still linked to the turntable. So I guess it's like habit. At the end of the day, you also see in festivals there are people like A-Track, DJ Snake, you know, they are on digital consoles, but at the end of the day, they are still on turntables because the feel of it, you know, like CDJ just cannot replace that 20% extra like drag feel that you have on the turntable, especially if you are like performing turntablism on it. Yeah, it's something that we are like quite anal about. But if you're just like playing and mixing songs, it doesn't really make a difference if you use CDJ or not. It's still real DJ. Yeah, just different form of equipment.
You touch on something really nice there, because some of my favorite DJs in the world, my very first booking back in 98, Jazzy Jeff still to this day uses vinyl. Little Louis Vega still uses vinyl. Even some of the more new school faces like Amelie Lons will specifically request to use vinyl, Sven Vath. So I think there is something incredibly special about it. And as you say, that it's not just a cultural thing, but there is a different slight feel to the music. So it's phenomenal that you have that skill. It's probably a rarity nowadays.
I guess so, and I feel that it is more apparent in techno or old school hip hop, because a lot of the songs, right, are only on vinyl. You know, people still appreciate like that vinyl quality, so probably they choose not to rip it. Yeah, so I see Emily Land's interview and Charlotte Dewey. They are all talking about Peggy Goo. Yeah, so they are all talking about like why certain part of the set, right, you'll suddenly just go full vinyl, then you come back to CDJ, because there are some songs that are just not available on digital. Yeah, that's the reason why. And Jazzy Jeff, for obvious reason, because he's like a master of turntablism. You know? That's his like main instrument. Like you can't ask a trumpet player to change to trombone, you know. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
So your skills don't just stop with DJing. I know there's I love what you put out on YouTube. You're a big-time video creator, and we also chatted to Juf, Mr. J, recently, who was telling us that you collab on video content as well. How did you fall into that? And I have a question. During this modern time where video content is so important, I was talking to Juf about how 74% of all content that's shared online is video. How did you fall into this, and where do you see the future in editing these videos going?
Okay, so it all first started off like with my DJ and my music, and I just felt like putting out music alone is like not enough. People are not gonna see it, especially if they don't know you. They want to know you first before they hear your music. So rather than just getting good at your craft and then letting people know you, I guess it should be like a simultaneous thing. So it started out with putting out posters first, and eventually posters were like not good enough. Then it just became video, and I started off my vlog series. I actually just recently ended my vlog series, but I started the vlogs, right? The reason for that was because I wanted to like produce music, and then in between producing tracks, right, there will be like certain period of time. I can't come out tracks every week, but that will be like low quality tracks. So if I have a certain period of like radio silence, I can insert like a weekly vlog, right? It will kind of keep people entertained at the same time. But after like 30 vlogs, I felt like, I could do something that is more engaging, because vlogs are like music. If they do not know you, why would they watch your vlog? Unless I'm like some hot chick, then they will come and watch my vlog. But then that's the reason why I'm thinking at like more short form content, doing like some meme video about how I produce my track. It's something that's more eye-catching. Yeah, I'm still working on it, but right now I'm like doubling on the track and turntablism video content creation by removing the vlog, so can expect more music. Yeah. And another kind of video that I like to do, right, is how-to videos, like how to set up a green screen, etc. Right? I don't really intend to be a how-to channel, even though that garners the most views. I just felt like anytime if somebody or a lot of DJs require to know something, and if I happen to know it, right, I just want to like share it with everybody. It's something more like a community service type thing. Yeah, it's not really like I want to do this for a living. What I want to do for a living is like DJ for Zoom and make music. That's the two things, that's enough really. And then at the side, if I find that, oh my god, a big portion of the DJ community needs to learn how to live stream because of this pandemic, just do a short video just to help. Yeah, not going to be like a regular thing.
That's phenomenal. It's great of you to give back to the community, because I think during lockdown, CB, it's a tricky time for people. Some people don't know how to adapt from being able to play to public, and then what do I do now and how do I do it? So the fact that you're helping them is a huge plus. You touched on there your making of music. What style of music do you produce yourself?
I produce stuff that is very in line with crowd control, because I feel like there's like authenticity in that way. I feel like the night that I promote, right, should be like a reflection of myself. That's the reason why it is my night. And I would classify it as like forward-thinking based music, but I still want to keep it friendly enough for people to understand, because at the end of the day, I'm not from the US where people are more open-minded. I'm from Singapore, which is like a smaller country, and in order for people to like accept me into like their circle, right, they have to like understand what I'm trying to do before I like go full out all artsy and stuff,
That's awesome. If we want to check out your music, where's the best place to find it?
I think for right now, you can find me at SoundCloud and YouTube at DJ LeNerd. That's where I put up most of my stuff. I try to go more visual on my music as well. Got like a team to do like visuals for me outside Zoom. So yeah, gonna be more interesting.
So
just music.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you a few questions. Number one, in line with crowd control, can you recommend 3 artists that are upcoming artists that people may not know yet to try and listen to during this CB period?
I don't think they are upcoming, but I think it is still relatively new in Singapore that I can recommend. I would say Res is one that I think Singaporeans should listen to more. And probably another one is Tynan. Another one that people should listen more to. And another one is 1788L. 1788L is also like a mid-tempo, hard mid-tempo producer. And of course, there's a lot of like local-based music producers like Mern, Xavier, Foxella, and more. All these that people should listen to. But I would say like the top 3 to get you into this kind of like mid-tempo based genre, the new wave kind of sound is these 3: Res, Tynan, and 1788L. Yep.
That's perfect. Definitely key to check them out. My second question, which normally throws people, is, LeNerd, Singapore asks you to represent them at the Olympics, which sport would it be in?
Shit. I was like thinking of man, some finger sport, man. Yeah, I don't know, like what can I do?
What
Like
about
bowling?
Archery, bowling, darts?
Yeah, something like precision, not like strength based, as you can see, not my forte. Yeah.
And you've made a good reference to Singapore a few times. I don't often get a chance to ask Singaporeans this. If you've got viewers who are from Ron's district of Las Vegas, or you've got people from Zukatsi in Hong Kong, if they come to Singapore, what are the must-do things that you recommend people do? Once we can open borders, people can come in. Zouk is obviously one of them, but what else do you recommend in Singapore?
I guess you should visit the non-tourist attraction and kind of feel like how it's like a day in the life of Singaporean. That's like number one. And you will realize that our standard of living is actually quite good, man, compared to like a lot of countries. We do not have like tourist attraction and rural areas. Our tourist attraction and our normal area is like quite close. It's not too far apart. Yeah, I guess that's something that other people should know, and they should also learn that, right? Singapore is not part of China. That's something that I come across a lot. Hey, is that part of China? So that's another thing. And yeah, just some heritage stuff, because if you want to go to all those like touristy spot, right, which sometimes I'm guilty of also, I guess you can find it in any other country, because like Singapore is like quite international. We model a lot of things similar to abroad. I guess another good thing is like our airport. We have been like 7 to 9 times the world #1 airport in the world. So that's something you can explore also. Yeah, I guess Changi Airport has swimming pool and stuff.
You know what? Yeah. I always feel like I've come back to a 5-star hotel when I step into Changi Airport. It's an unreal place. But Singapore itself is an unreal place. It's incredibly safe. A lot of culture to check out, and I find that the options, especially for food, for drink, is incredibly first world. I mean, it's the only first world country in Asia, so it's phenomenal for that. But LeNerd, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. We can't wait for your mix. And my last question will be: will you come and spin at Zouk Genting when we can reopen?
I already played there once. I'm going to be back anytime you guys call me, man.
Man. We can't wait. But we've really enjoyed chatting to you. I really appreciate your time. Stay safe during the rest of CB. And as soon as Zouk bounce back, we can't wait to see you transition from not just Zouk Digital, but back into the main room and checking out crowd control.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Thank you so much for your time.